everybody, it's Avery Breyer here. I'm popping on today to do a review of SocialBee. The reason this caught my attention is that I recently switched my social media scheduler to this one. I wasn't happy with the other one. A few times a year it seemed it would stop posting to my profile. I'm not going to name names, but I was looking for a solution that wouldn't do that, and I switched to SocialBee, and despite the fact that my other social media scheduler was telling me there was a problem with Facebook that was preventing my posts from going through, interestingly, with SocialBee, those same posts went through no problem. So that led me to believe it was the tool I was using that was the problem, not Facebook, because SocialBee was easily able to get my posts live in my group. So anyways, that's why I came to SocialBee. Now, they're a really great platform, really flexible with lots of options. The evergreen posting is something that's really important to me personally. What I like to do with my social media posts for the things that are not time sensitive and do have potentially evergreen interest or conversation starters and things like that, I like to rotate through a whole bunch of different options and just have it automatically go live. And then all I have to do is pop on to my social media accounts and reply to comments and that kind of thing. So SocialBee makes it super, super easy to set up set it and forget it schedule of content posting. So I really love that. They've got a lot of nice automation integrated with their platform. You can use custom URLs and tracking, which is really cool. And most importantly, of course, they have all of the most popular social media platforms usable with their platform. So there's Twitter, Facebook, your regular profile, your pages, and your groups can all be posted to from SocialBee. You can use LinkedIn profiles and pages, Instagram profiles, Pinterest boards, and Google My Business locations. My main focus with social media has been Facebook simply because I don't have the time to do the others. But if you are able to successfully run multiple platforms at once, you will be able to do that within SocialBee, which is absolutely awesome. They also have some cool analysis features included, and so on. And one thing that's nice if you don't have time to do it all yourself is they even have services, done for you services that they offer. If you want to upgrade, you can hire a social media specialist through them, content writers, content curators, LinkedIn growth specialists, LinkedIn drip specialists, and so on. There's all of these added services, which is really, really cool for those of you that want to outsource some of your social media stuff. And you can also check out their roadmap for things that they are working on in future. So they're definitely improving all the time and coming up with more and more great features, which I like to see in any platform that I adopt, because it gives me the impression that they're going to be around for the long haul, because I don't really want to have to spend the time switching again, because it took me the whole weekend actually to switch just my Facebook evergreen content from the previous social media scheduler to SocialBee, and I really don't want to have to do that again. So I'm glad to see that they have a roadmap and plans for the future and so on. So I'm going to give you a peek behind the scenes at what their dashboard looks like when you log in. So you just set up, the usual stuff you'd expect, your name and your email address and so on. I like that you can customize the kinds of notifications you receive from the platform. In my case, I'm only interested in knowing if something fails to post, but if you have any stuff you're importing or whatever, if you have content categories that are a use once kind of category that might become empty at some point, you could have them notify you when that happens so that you know, hey, you got to add more content to this. And you can also have them email you an analytics report weekly if you want. Personally, my preference is just to log in and do it when I want. But if you want a little nudge to check those numbers, they can do that for you. And then they've just got their cookie consents and whatever that you have to sign up for at the end. So that's your profile there. Then you can go to social profiles, and this is the spot where you're going to connect your social profiles to SocialBee. So what I have done is I added my Twitter account just to see how easy or not it was to do. And it's actually ridiculously easy. You just click on it and you go through the typical screens whenever you're hooking up an app where it just asks you to log into the social media platform and give your permission to SocialBee to go ahead and post on your behalf. For Facebook, you can have it automate posting to your profile, your page, and your group. I don't plan on using the profile feature only because Facebook's terms of service say that you shouldn't be posting business stuff on your personal profile. They could take away your account if they catch you doing that. So I don't want to risk that. So I won't be using this feature, although I did connect it just to see what happens. And it's, again, ridiculously easy to do. Facebook page, I've got it connected to my Facebook page and Facebook group as well. That's my Money Mastery community. That is where I'm most active in social media. If I wanted, I could also connect it to my LinkedIn profile or company. Instagram, I like that you can post directly to Instagram. I personally haven't done much on Instagram because I haven't had time to figure out how to get the most out of that platform. However, if you do use Instagram, because that's an important platform for a lot of people, you can do it via Buffer. And with Pinterest, same thing, you can do it via Hootsuite. Now, regarding SocialBee and Instagram, the fact that you have to go through Buffer, so you know, they do plan on eventually getting native posting for Instagram directly through SocialBee. So this isn't going to be forever that you're going to have to use a third party, which is Buffer, to do it. But that being said, I wouldn't worry too much about having to use Buffer because they're very well connected, and all you have to do is connect your SocialBee account to Buffer once, connect Buffer to your Instagram once, and then after that you can manage everything through SocialBee. So that's not going to be too big of an inconvenience if you do end up choosing to automate some of your posting to Instagram. Now for Pinterest and the Hootsuite integration, SocialBee has a great tutorial on how to connect the two to make it super easy for you to do if you are really into Pinterest. And the cool thing is you do not need a paid Hootsuite account to do this. The free one will do the trick as long as you don't have more than 3 socials or more than 3 Pinterest accounts. So if you're like most people and you just have 1 Pinterest account or whatever, you should be just fine. If you're a social media manager and you do a bunch, well, then that's a different story. But if you're just a one-woman or one-man show, or you've got a small team, which is my situation, I do it myself, 1 account is all that I need. So anyways, this too, you just have to hook it up once. So you're going to use SocialBee you're going to click on that button and it'll take you through the setup of Hootsuite and connecting that to Pinterest. And then once you go through this process, it's just a one-time deal. After that, you can manage all of your posting through SocialBee. So it's not like you're going to be logging in through these third-party platforms forever. It's just a one-time setup, and then after that, everything you do will be in SocialBee. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a little bit behind the scenes how you can schedule your posts in SocialBee. And I'm going to focus on Facebook groups because that is where I am most active on social media, but the process is pretty much the same no matter what social media platform you like to use. So here we go. If you go into content here, you can set up different categories for your content. Now with a brand new SocialBee account, they've all got content categories created ahead of time for you that you can use. If you are like me and you want to just create your own because you have your own workflow, you can definitely do that. It takes 2 seconds to just hit the delete button and get rid of whatever categories you don't want to have. And the cool thing is when you set up a category, you can name it, of course, and you can also set up a nice description. So, you know, you can organize this in many different ways. You've seen how I've chosen to organize it based on time of day and theme. So I use the description for the theme and the category name. In my case, I'm using as time of day. In your case though, you could do it any way you want. You might want to just do a category like motivation quotes, period. That's it. And set up your schedule, which I'll show you later, that says your motivation quote category is going to go out on whatever day and time to whatever social media platforms you want, and so on. The point is it's super customizable. Another great thing, which in my opinion is a necessity for these types of social media management tools, is to have the option to have your post categories be either evergreen, that means they're going to get recycled. For instance, if you have 30 different posts in a category, SocialBee would go through each one of those posts, posting them when you want, and it'll just cycle through them, right? So if it's set up to post every Monday this category will post number 1, and then next week it'll do the next post in the line, and so on. It'll just keep rotating through, and when it gets to the end, it'll start over again. So that's evergreen. That can be great for saving time when you have things that are not time sensitive. Other times you may have posts that are a one-time deal. You don't want them to go out again and again and again because it just wouldn't make sense to do so. If that was the case, you can stick those in a category which you set up to be share once. And they also have an option to make your category be used as a random category that gives you further flexibility in terms of posting. And then there's also various advanced settings that you can see here, UTM source, UTM term, and all these other kinds of things that you might want to integrate. In my case, I tend to just use the basic features because that's all I need, but it's kind of cool to know that if you do want to get more advanced, you can do so. As you can see, one thing that's nice in the content category page here is that at a glance, you can see which categories are share once and which ones are evergreen. I love that. It just makes it that much easier to see. You can also see how many different posts you have within a category, which is great. So at a glance, you know what's going on with each. You can tell which social media account it's going to be posted to. So in this case, it's my Money Mastery community on Facebook. It's a Facebook group, and that's the only one I've set up so far because I just haven't had time to do the others. Okay, so I'm going to show you now how to see your posts, how to edit them, how to add them, and I'm going to show you just how easy it is to do. So for Monday morning, these are the ones I've already set up for my Monday mission posts. I've got a whole bunch in here. One thing that's kind of nice here is that if you upload a whole bunch of posts to here and you want to change the order that they are going to be shown in, you can do that. You can just click and drag and move it wherever you want, which is really great. Or if you just want to move something all at, down a whole bunch of spots at once, you can go flat out move to bottom or move to top, which is great. You can duplicate a post if you want to use it as a base to make one similar, or maybe you just flat out want to duplicate it. You can also choose to share a post instantly right now if you happen to see a reason to do so. When you do want to add a new post, I'm going to show you how easy it is to do. So what I would be doing here is you always have to select what social media profile you're going to be posting it on. You could do it on more than one or just one of them. In my case, like I said, I'm active in my Facebook group primarily, so that's where I want to post it right now. The category, it defaults to the category you're in when you add the post, but you could change your mind if you wanted to here, if you wanted to stick it in a different category. So then here you just go ahead and put your text here. And then you can add a photo or video, and that's super easy to do. Once you have done that, there's some extra options you can add in here if you want. For example, when to post, you can add to the top of the queue. That's the default. Any new post you put in, go right to the top, or you can add it to the bottom of the queue, or you can share right now and then it'll go to the bottom of the queue because you're not going to want to recycle it again right after you just shared it, right? And you can also tell it you want to post at a specific time. You can also, if you want, expire your posts at a certain time. So in other words, you can have it recycling evergreen for a few weeks, days, months, whatever you want, and then have it expire and tell it when you want that to happen. You can also choose to expire not based on date and time, but based on how many times the post has been shown. So that's a really handy feature too that you may want to take advantage of. Another great thing, if, unlike me, if you're posting to more than one type of social media category, for example, Twitter, I can customize for each profile. So that means for Facebook, I can tell it I want the text to be like this, which is obviously just a silly example. Or on Twitter, I can say I want it to be different. So this is especially useful since well, looking at Facebook and Twitter as a perfect example, there's different lengths of post that you're allowed to put in terms of how many characters of text you can use. So it's great to be able to customize things, so you can shorten things up. If you're into long posts on Facebook, you can do an abbreviated version on Twitter. You can also use a custom photo for each social media platform, because as you know, certain sizes of image displayed look better on different platforms. So you wouldn't want to be using your Facebook sized post on Pinterest, for example, because Pinterest, you know, usually these nice long, tall rectangles tend to do better than the shape of post image you would use on Facebook or even Twitter. So this gives you an easy way to optimize everything. Another really cool feature for these evergreen posts, or any posts for that matter, but especially evergreen, you can do variations of your posts. So for example, let's say you want the same text, but you want different images as it rotates through the queue. So for example, this month it's going to post version 1, and then, you know, a few weeks or months later, when it comes up to the top of the queue again, you might not want your audience to see the exact same photo they saw before. Well, you can add a variation where you maybe have the same text, but a different photo, or maybe you'd want to change both the text and the photo, or just the text. And finally, it lets you cycle through so you can see the variations. Now here, because this isn't a real variation, you're not going to see anything, but I'm going to show you how that looks on a post where I've actually added some variations. But anyways, once you have added your content, you would click on Add Post, and that will put it into the category that you selected up here. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what I mean by making different variations for your posts. For my Wednesday Win category that I post on Wednesday mornings, I am basically posting the same thing every week, which is just, hey, have you had any financial wins this week? And if so, what was it? How did you do it? You know, just so that we can all celebrate it together. But I thought, you know, it might be kind of boring seeing the same image every single week. I mean, we like novelty, we like new things. So I went in and created a bunch of different images. So I have the same text each week for this post, but the image is changing. So I just am experimenting with different images. And if you have the time, of course, you can also assess what kind of images your audience likes better, what gets more attention, what gets more engagement, and so on. And you can continually refine it to optimize the results you get from those posts. And then I've got a second kind of post. Sorry, I think I said before it's the exact same post every week. I made a mistake. I am alternating my Wednesday wins with sharing what your win was with how you feel when you enjoy a win, encouraging people to share a gift. So basically the way this will work is on week 1, they're going to see the post. Did you have any wins? What was it? How did you do it? And it's going to show one of these variations of the images that I posted. Then week 2, it's going to say, hey, how did you feel when you enjoy a financial win? Use a GIF to make it how you to show how it makes you feel. And hopefully people will engage with that and share a GIF, and we'll all have a laugh, because GIFs are always fun to look at. And it's going to rotate between different GIFs that I've chosen to put on my post into the group. And so then it'll go week 3 back to the, have you had any financial wins this week? What was it? How did you do? Then the next week it'll be back to a GIF, and it'll go through the next variation of the GIF post. So I hope that makes sense how I explained it, but it's really, really flexible in how you set these up. And another thing that you could have done if you didn't want to do it this way is you could simply set this variation 1 as a single post with no variations, and then you'd go and put in order this GIF thing, variation 1, and then you'd go back and put variation 2 as a separate post. But to me that seemed more complicated, because I knew for this day I was alternating only between 2 post types. So this was the simplest way for me to organize it. In contrast, on my Friday morning posts, every post is different. So for each post they kind of have a same theme to it, but I'm not recycling the same text or anything like that. So in this case, I've just got a series of 10 posts that are going to go up once a week. So my audience will see each post once every 10 weeks. So there's a variation on the theme for each post, different images and so on. And it's just going to cycle through all of those. And so that's how I set up my Fridays. I also, on some of them, I did add more than one image. So for example, this post on Friday, it's basically the same thing, but I was curious which kind of image might get more of a response. So I wanted to experiment. So I could say for this image, I guess, you know, in the first 10 weeks, when it's turn to show up, it's going to be this variation one. Then 10 weeks later, when it shows up again, it's going to be this one. So it's not really a perfect experiment, but it just adds a little more variety to my posts, and maybe I can draw some conclusions from it in terms of what works best. I've got this one here. I also have a few different variations because I really wasn't sure what kind of image to put with this. So I just threw together a few different types, and I'll see if I can draw any conclusions from which one performs a little better. Granted, it's not a perfect experiment, far from it, but the point is you have the flexibility to even do this, which is really awesome. Now, a couple of notes on Facebook in particular when you are setting up your account with Facebook. SocialBee makes it super, super easy, but Facebook has tightened up some of their rules surrounding how you can post to their platform through these kind of schedulers. And I'm wondering if that is why that other tool I was using, which shall remain nameless, that I wasn't happy with, wasn't working. Perhaps they hadn't figured out how to work within Facebook's rules to make their scheduler work. SocialBee though is on the ball and it works perfectly, but just so you don't run into any hiccups when you're setting it up, if you do decide to use SocialBee, I wanted to point out a couple of things. Now there's two areas in Facebook where your permissions have to be granted in order for an app like SocialBee to post to your account. And I'm going to show you the first one, which is automated. So from my personal profile, I go up here to this little arrow and select settings. That brings me to this screen, and then you can click on business integrations. Now, do you see here SocialBee is listed here. Now, this is all set up automatically. You do not have to do anything with it. All of the options here that I'm showing you now, these were set up when I originally went in through SocialBee to connect it. You remember that screen I showed you back in the beginning of this video where I was showing you how you connect to all the different social media platforms? Well, when you click on the button to connect it to a Facebook group or profile or page, you are taken to a screen kind of like this here, a box where you can customize some of your settings here. So I've got it pretty much as the default. The only thing that I changed was for groups. They pre-select every group that you're part of on Facebook. And I had no plans on automating scheduling to other people's groups. I just want to automate scheduling to my own group. So that's the only group I selected when I set this up. But otherwise it was pretty much the default settings. So that's pretty much automated, aside from that one setting I changed, which I just mentioned about groups. But when you're in your actual group, there is another setting that you have to set up. And here, by the way, is just a preview of how a post from SocialBee looks like when it's put in your group. It just says it's from SocialBee and it shows up just like it's supposed to, which is super cool. But if you go to more under your group settings and you go to edit group settings, you're going to have to go and scroll down until you get to apps, and then you're going to go and click on add apps, and you're going to have to search for SocialBee. And after it's loaded, it's going to show you a list of apps. To save time, what you would just type in is SocialBee, and it will come up. Now, I'm not getting any results because I have already added it. But when it's your first time setting this up, you're going to see SocialBee come up here, and you're going to select it, and you're going to give it permission to post in your group. So make sure you do that step, because if all you do is the automated step that comes up when you first set up that social media account, you're going to get an error message that your posts aren't going live. That's what happened to me because I didn't read the rest of the instructions for how to set it up. So I don't want you to have that problem, waste time trying to figure out what's going on. So after you have added your account, through your social profiles here where you can connect everything. You're gonna, go to click on group and add the group, or click on page or profile, whatever that is. If it's a group, for example, though, when you've added it, you have to manually go into the group, into the settings now, and add SocialBee as an app. So make sure you don't forget doing that. It's a quick and easy step to do, but also easy to miss. So make sure you do it. So now I'm going to give you a quick overview of some of the other features and how they work. So as you know, I've set up my content in various categories, and it's super flexible in terms of how you set it up, which is fantastic. When you're done though, you then have to go and set up a posting schedule. Now SocialBee, when you first set up an account, they're gonna have a whole bunch of pre-made schedules set up here. I just wanted to do my own, so I told it I was gonna start from scratch. It's just a matter of clicking a button literally, and then you'll have an empty calendar. So then say I want to add a post to Saturday morning at around 9 something in the morning. I can click there like you saw me do. I tell it what profile I want to post to, and I tell it what category I want it to draw from. Now you see here, it gives you the option of choosing a random category. Now, if you recall, back when I showed you how to create a category, it gives you the option to allow a category to be used as a random category. So had I chosen any categories to be allowable for random categories, it would go into this category here if I selected random categories to post on Saturday mornings. In my case, let's say I wanted this unassigned category to go there. I would simply select unassigned, and I would tell it what time I want to post, and then click create. Now I'm not actually going to do that because that unassigned category I'm going to use for something else later. But it really is just that easy to go ahead and set up your schedule. And I love the graphic representation of how things are going to go. You can see I've just chosen some random times, 9:02, 9:01, 9:07, whatever. And it just kind of shows you where they're all posting. Which is fantastic. And then if you want to make sure everything is set up all right, you can go ahead and see view next posts, and you can select based on the profile what you have scheduled. Now for Twitter, I've set up nothing, so you won't see anything here. My personal profile, I am not using SocialBee for that, so I'm not going to bother clicking there. But the one that I do use is my Facebook group, and I have that all set up. Anyways, it's beautifully set up. I like that it tells me the date, the day of the week, the time. This is a category in this case that is showing up. So mine says Tuesday morning because that's what I named the category. Your category will display whatever you named it. It tells you what social profile it's posting to. It shows you a preview of the image, and you can just go ahead and scroll through and just make sure that your schedule looks the way you expect it to look. So it's just a great way to troubleshoot. They also give you the option of viewing it on a calendar view. My little previews haven't loaded yet because my computer's having a hard time because I'm running recording software and surfing the internet, and I think it's killing my laptop a little bit here. Anyways, because I'm recording, my laptop wouldn't let me give you a nice view of that calendar feature they have, but it is really cool. It shows you all of your posts laid out nicely in calendar format with the little icons, image icons, and so on. So now though, we will go on to the next part of your product tour behind the scenes, and that is analytics. When you click on the analytics, it will show you various stats like Twitter growth, audience status, activity status, top performing posts, and so on. Now, because I just started using this over this past weekend, there's really not a heck of a lot to show you here because my first post didn't go out until today. But once you have some data accumulated, you can go ahead and look at it either from the last 14 days, last month, last 3 months, all time, or a custom period. So that's a really cool feature. I especially like the option to choose a custom period because sometimes there will be a particular time that you are interested in seeing, and this will allow you to do that. Now with Twitter, there are some cool features you can access here under the audience section. You can go and take a look at your competitor audiences. You can research keywords, you can upload followers, you can check out who your fans are, your friends are. Non-followers is a feature that some of you might be interested in. What this is it will allow you to see the people who you are following but are not following you back. So if part of your Twitter strategy is to unfollow people who are not following you, you can find them all here. and unfollow them. It also gives you the ability to whitelist certain social profiles. These are the ones that you legitimately want to follow because you are interested in them and that you will not unfollow them even if they're not following you back. The blacklist audience are social profiles you don't ever want to see in competitor audience or keyword searches. That's this stuff up here. And social profile check is an option where you can just go ahead and see how you relate to a certain profile or so on. You can just enter somebody's Twitter handle and get a little bit of history there on your interactions with them. So that is SocialBee. I mean, overall, I absolutely love it. It was super easy for me to set up. I love that they have so much flexibility in terms of how I set up my content categories, how often I want my evergreen posts to show up, and so on. I think that's absolutely fantastic. So if you do decide to try this, I think you're going to absolutely love it. But of course, pricing is a question that is likely on your mind. So now let's go ahead and take a look at what they offer for pricing. Now, if I were signing up for this today, the Bootstrap plan is all I would require. It gives you the ability to post on all of the profiles I showed you earlier, which is actually the same no matter what plan you're on, incidentally. You get one workspace. That's where you're kind of setting up your social profiles. The number of social profiles you're allowed to use is 5. So you'll see here, they have the capability to post to 6, but you can only actually have 5 social profiles. That's probably not the end of the world. Most people probably aren't using Google My Business, so the fact that you can only choose 5 is likely not going to be the end of the world to you. If it is, by all means, go ahead and get the Accelerate plan, because then you can have 10 social profiles, which gives you even more flexibility. Content categories on the basic plan, you can have 10 of those. For most people, that's going to be enough, but if you do need more, you can go ahead again and upgrade your plan to a higher version. RSS feeds, that is a feature I forgot to mention earlier. You can set up SocialBee to pull blog posts or whatever from an RSS feed, not just from your own website, but from other people's website, and it will go ahead and pull in whatever the featured image is. And then you can go ahead and customize the text however you like. If you want to switch out the featured image for something else, you can do that. That option is what they're referring to here with these RSS feeds. Posts per category, they give you a generous 1,000 posts per category. I think for most people, coming up with 1,000 posts in a category is far more than you will ever actually do. So it seems to me that this limit is plenty generous enough. All of the categories allow you that post recycling. Again, to me, this is the most important feature, one of the most important features in SocialBee or any social media management tool that I would ever even consider. Twitter audience tools, you have it across all of the plans. I showed you the concierge services previously. They've got several options for that. So as far as pricing goes, Bootstrap plan is 19 bucks a month. Most people working on their own are going to be fine with that Bootstrap plan, but if you do need to upgrade, you could go ahead and do that. Now let's compare to some of the other options you might be considering. Meet Edgar is $49 a month, so it's a lot more expensive. Now, you do have unlimited posting, unlimited content library, and so on. So you do get more for that $49 a month. But as I said, if you are a sole proprietor or just a small business, you likely don't need that much stuff. So again, for most people in that case, if you're working alone or with a very small team, this $19 a month will work out cheaper than Meet Edgar and will meet all of your needs. Now, Smarter Queue is another option some people go with. This too, 20 bucks a month you can get there, but you only get 4 social profiles as opposed to the 5 you get with SocialBee. Content categories and queued posts. With Smarter Queue, you only get up to 500 queued posts. You can have up to 1,000 with SocialBee. So it's nice to have that option, whether you use it or not. It's just good not to be pressured that you'd be using them up too soon. With me, I'm already up to 62 posts and I'm not even done scheduling all of my stuff yet. So I don't know, I would be worried that 500 is not going to be quite enough once everything's fully set up. You know, I mean, eventually, if I'm going to add Twitter to my scheduling, if I'm going to add scheduling to my Facebook page, to Pinterest, to Instagram, I'm going to need more than 500 queued posts. So for me, this wouldn't work out for the $20 a month, and SocialBee I think would be a better option because they do allow you to have more. And then one thing that's a funny little limitation here with Smarter Queue on their entry-level plan is that they limit you to 10 posts per profile per day. For a profile like Facebook, that is probably plenty good enough, but some of you power Twitter users might find that limitation is a bit confining, whereas with SocialBee, you do not have that kind of limitation, which I think is another thing that makes it a bit of a superior option. Anyways, I'm not going to go into comparing it to all of the various social media management plans out there, tools rather, but I will say this, I am extremely happy with SocialBee right now, and I see myself sticking with it for the long term. And if you are interested in trying it out, you can do that. They have a 14-day free trial, so that way there's no commitment. You can go and play around with their platform. I have a link below this video. It is an affiliate link. That means it's a compensated link. I would get a little percentage from your purchase, but it doesn't cost you any extra. So if you appreciated this video and found it helpful and decide to try SocialBee, it would be great if you could say thanks by using my link below this video to sign up and give it a try. And if you want to see more reviews of tools you can use for your e-biz, please don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so that you will be notified when I release more review videos. So thanks for watching, and I hope to see you watching again next time. Bye!